Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. A Hopkins County deputy conducted a courtesy transport of a woman to her home after her husband had left her at a party in Franklin County, according to the deputy's report. When they arrived at the residence located at State Highway 11 East, they found the residence locked. Both the deputy and the woman knocked on the doors, the exterior walls, and the windows, but there was no response. The woman found an unsecured window with a house key near it. As the deputy held the window open for the woman to recover the keys, her husband inside the house told his wife to get back, expletive deleted, and slammed the window on the deputy's hand, causing swelling, redness, and bleeding. The deputy was in full uniform and easily identifiable as a peace officer. Hollis Blaine Sarton, age 43, of Picton, was arrested for assault on a public servant, a felony 3. When a welfare concern was called in to Sulphur Springs Police, an officer was dispatched to the 600 block of Bill Bradford Road, where he found Jesse James Whitson, age 28, of Saltillo, slumped over the front seat of his vehicle. When Whitson was asked to exit his vehicle, the officer found a firearm in the front seat. Whitson, a convicted felon, also admitted to having marijuana in the vehicle. A search of the vehicle found a bag of green leafy substance believed to be marijuana and drug paraphernalia. Whitson is in Hopkins County Jail, charged with unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon and possession of drug paraphernalia. A traffic stop for speeding on Lamar Street in Sulphur Springs resulted in the arrest of a Mount Pleasant man for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. A records check by Sulphur Springs Police showed the vehicle stolen. Casey Antoine Macon was arrested and the vehicle impounded. Voting for the primary election runoff has begun in Hopkins County and the state of Texas. The primary runoff election day is May 22nd. Early voting began Monday, continues through Friday at the Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 courtroom, 128 Jefferson Street, 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. each day. Here's Don Julian with sports.
The season ended for the Wildcats baseball team as they lost to Prosper 9-6 at Rockwall Saturday afternoon. The Eagles took the area series 2-0. And I talked with Wildcats baseball coach Jared Hammock.
We really felt like we could win the series. We matched up well. Our kids competed hard, and Saturday with prom, I was a little concerned, but our kids left no doubt that they were there to win and compete. And we did jump out to a 5-0 lead after 2 innings. Well, we were the top of the order, top of the inning. So after 1.5, we were up 5-0, and had a bad bottom of the second. They ended up coming back scoring 4, and we out-hit them for the second straight game, but they seemed to get a little more timely hitting than we did. We left the bases loaded at least twice, and probably second and third or first and third, and then just both games, typically it seemed like we had 1 or 2 innings where the defense and or pitching just struggled for those couple of innings, and that was kind of the difference in the games and then ultimately in the series.
Kind of reflecting on the end of the season and everything, I guess I'll always remember these guys as tri-champs, part of first place, and maybe that walk-off win over Hallsville, that was kind of seemed like, and winning by district.
Well, it's 2 years in a row we have a share of the district title, right, which is a pretty big deal in this district because it's so competitive with Texas High and Hallsville. So to have a share of it 2 years in a row is quite an accomplishment. It's been a great group. It's always sad, when you lose the guys you're going to lose, and this group will never be together again. And so it always ends too soon if you don't win at all, I guess. But it really did end too soon. I really felt like this team had an opportunity to advance third, fourth round possibly, even though it's a tough road. This is a tough region. If you don't win first, you're probably in the district, number 1 seed, you're probably going to get a Wakeland or a Prosper pretty quick out of the gate. But again, we really felt like, and especially after playing them, I felt like we matched up extremely well with them. And I know we put a scare in them. Their coach was kind of relieved that the series was over because, he knew, at least in this series, we swung the bats pretty well. Again, just not with necessarily men in scoring position.
All right. You go back to to our athletic banquet. You have an MVP in mind, or what are your thoughts?
I hadn't even thought about that. I'm just later on. Coach McMeans will come to me at some point and ask, and I guess I better start figuring that out because it really, most of the weekend I've just contemplated, what ifs. If we would have just played a little better defense, if we'd have just gotten one guy to get a 2-out hit with the bases loaded, it could have been a different series and we might still be playing. So that's what I've been mostly thinking about. And so, I guess I'll sit down with maybe Coach Silman and just try to figure out who that might be.
All right. We know the all-district selections have been made, but we have to hold off on that until Hallsville completes their run.
Well, and T-High, yeah. We've got 2 of our 4 still rolling, and that's I think a testament to the difficulty of our district. But I think we're pretty well represented on the all-district team, and as soon as those 2 guys are put out, we can talk about that. But it was a good day, I think, at the all-district meeting.
The Lady Cat softball team saw their season come to an end as they lost to Forney at Lady Cat Park 14-5 on Saturday. The Lady Rabbits also won the regional quarterfinal series 2-0. I talked with Lady Cat softball coach David Carrillo.
Yes, we kind of knew that going in that they were very, very good. Their hitting lineup 1 through 9 was the best we were going to see this year, and we knew that going in. It's just unfortunate for these kids that you had to run into a buzzsaw like that, in the 3rd round. But, that's the way it is, and they're a very good team. And, I'm not down at all. We've done a lot of good things this year, and I think our kids, once it kind of settles in, they're going to realize it. And if you're going to get beat, you might as well get beat by somebody you feel like, that could eventually go on to win a state championship, and I feel like that team can.
Yeah, they kind of nonchalanted a little bit with a starting pitcher that wasn't their best, and they ended up pulling her out and bringing in the best because we were getting close. We were within 10-4 and looking like wanting more.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely got to the other one a little bit better than the first one, but his number 1 is really good, like I said. But I thought that for the most part, our goal was to go in there and play the best game that we possibly could, and sometimes, those kind of things happen where you just kind of feel like everything's losing control. But the one thing that you can control is your character and yourself. And I felt like we did that for the most part this weekend. So, we saw something that as a group that we probably hadn't seen before all year. And, you could push the panic button or you could say this or say that, but for the most part, our kids kept their head. They kept believing throughout the game, and I never ever heard the 4-letter word prom. And so I know they were out there to go play, and I knew that they were out there to go win. So that made me feel good about, our team and how they finished up this year. It wasn't a win, but we learned, but it was a great year, a great journey, great ride. So there's nothing I would take back from what we did this year. And to be honest with you, I would never trade this team for anyone. It's more than just the wins, and it's the character that we have on our team and the kids that we have, and that's what's the most important. And we all grew together as a team this year, and they've done everything I could ask for them. We over me stood out more than anything, and that to me is the most important thing.
28 wins, a lone district championship all by themselves, and like we said, you've never done that here before, so you'll always remember the group that got there first.
Oh yeah, and like I said, this group of kids is a group of seniors we're fixing to miss. Jacqueline Semler, Carly Adams, Macy Hollins, and Alyssa Abram. They all had certain roles on our teams they had to play, and they were great. They never caused me any issues. They just did their thing, and they did their thing for 4 years, and I appreciate them so much. It's going to be hard to lose those girls because of, you realize that they're not coming back. That was their last game, and that's the hardest part of all as a coach, because you don't want to lose anyone. I'd love to keep all the seniors that I've had in the past, but that's not possible. But those girls are going to go off and do great things, and again, I'm very proud of them and how they've been throughout the 4 years that they've been here and the legacy that they've kind of left behind.
and you have a special junior group this year that has just been special all the way through, and they'll be their leaders next year. And you think about Brinkley Driver and Bailey Haggerty, you think about Wallace, your shortstop, and Stroud, your left fielder, and I'm sure some people I'm leaving out.
Yeah, I mean, we still have Sierra Smith rolling around up in there. We have a great group of juniors. This is probably the best group that I've had ever, of just a group of kids of softball players. I mean, they get after it, and now it's their time to lead, and it's going to be exciting to where they can take us. And I feel like, Allie Fight had an outstanding year this year. She did really good. She was great behind. She hit the ball. She was a great find out in the outfield. She has a cannon for an arm, and Allie's one of those girls that I thought really stepped it up this year. She did it. She had a great year, and you tie her along with some of those sophomores, and then we've got some kids that I feel like can step in next year that can fill in some of these spots. Some of the juniors that we have, that I feel like they can come in and step in, and some of the sophomores that we have. Even there's a freshman, Nala Lindley. She could possibly play in the mix really hard, and they're going to make up our team. So basically, we're going to go back to work, and right when that game was over, I was telling my wife, I was like going, you at the life of a coach, you put it down and you go figure out how you're going to do it again next year, and that's what we've been doing, and that's actually what I was doing this weekend. So we'll go back to work and get things fixed, and again, try to go as far as we can and do what we need to do to put the best possible team out in the field.
Remember the late and great Charles McCauley? You'd say, well, we are losing a great bunch, but he said we got a great bunch coming back, and there's some young ones ready to step in too.
Yes.
He was always very optimistic.
Yes, and that's the way I feel. I mean, I feel the sky's the limit for this group again, and having Bailey Haggerty back is definitely a big plus. I thought Tessa Holt gave us some great innings this weekend too, so she did a great job. And again, just mixing the Alleys and the groups that we have, the Brinkleys and all those girls, Kelsey and Sadie and all those, we're going to be good. It's just a matter of going back to work and getting focused back in and getting after it.
Lady Cat track athlete Amani Taylor competed in the long jump at the state track meet last Friday at UT Austin. I talked about her accomplishments with Lady Cat's track coach, Tristan Abram.
And Amani did an amazing job. Exactly what we wanted her to go do. She went and she competed. Wasn't her best jump of the season in the six that she was able to jump on Friday, but she was there and she did a great job of representing Sulphur Springs. She did a great job of representing Sulphur Springs Lady Cat track, and like I said, she competed extremely well. She finished 7th overall. And after her first jump, she was actually sitting in 2nd place, and just wasn't able to hold on to that. But that's just how it is. On any given day, anybody can do something crazy and jump their best jumps, and you may not jump your best that you've jumped all year. So with all that being said, I'm still excited that she was able to go to the state track meet and compete there on the big stage. She's been doing this for 4 years now. As a senior, she was finally able to get out of the regional meet and go to the state meet, and it was a fun trip. It was a quick turnaround. We left Thursday, and Sadavia Porter also went with her, and going on with that, I told Sadavia. And Coach McCain told Sadavia, we both told her, like, hey, next year we expect to see you here, and we're not buying your ticket next year, so you better make sure you pay your own way. And what we meant by that was for her to understand that she has all the tools, and that's our challenge to her, is to be there running next year. And competing on that stage as well. But like I said, it was a quick turnaround. We took the girls down on Thursday. We let them just enjoy Austin. We actually took them to San Marcos just to enjoy a little bit of time down there in that central Texas area, and then got up Friday morning. Amani jumped, and we were back to Sulphur for softball and prom and all of that this weekend. So it was a busy weekend, but with all that being said, it was fun hanging out with those young ladies. And just being able to watch her compete against some of the best, obviously the best in the state, and that was the final conversation with her. When it's all said and done, you can say that I am in the top 7 in the state in this event, and because there are a lot of folks who can't say that. But I wanted her to know how pleased with her that I am, and excited for her, and all of her accomplishments this season.
It looked like for one reason or the other that it was a hard day to get a really good long jump.
Right.
Even the lady that kind of ran away with it didn't have, her jump that we've seen her do before, and just I don't know about the others, but
it wasn't her best jump either of the season. And as a matter of fact, going in, her best jump of the season, she got that at the Texas Relays there, a few weeks prior to that. So no, it wasn't her best jump going in, and I'll tell you this, it was as far as for a spectator, it was an unbelievable day. It was kind of cool. There was an overcast part of the time, so you got a little breeze and it's cool. And in May, you're really not expecting that, at the state track meet. And so with that being said, I don't know if that had an effect on it or not. But I know that, when it's all said and done, our statement to Amani was, hey, it takes one jump, and unfortunately we weren't able to get that long 18.8 that we got at the regional meet. But again, I was excited for her, and like you said, she's going to get to say that she competed against a young lady that I'm going to go ahead and call her now is a future Olympian, because later on that same young lady actually went and they are with the pending record. She could have possibly set the new national record in triple jump. She jumped a 45 something later that evening, or that afternoon. So she can say that I jumped against an Olympian, and now there's not a lot of people that can say that. But she did a great job. She competed well, and I think that when it's all said and done, she feels excited for being able to do that, and excited about her accomplishments.
Miller Grove distance runner Georgia Bessonette was first in the 3,200-meter run at the state track meet Friday at UT Austin. Bessonette got out to an early lead but was passed with about 100 meters to go. Lady Hornets track coach Gary Billingsley said Bessonette had to make a great move to get back into first place and win the race. Coach Billingsley said she had far from her best time on Friday, but he said she is a state champion. He said it's all about racing and performing at the state level. Saturday, Bissonette finished second in the 1,600-meter run. Also on Saturday, Lady Hornet Cassidy Shaney finished second in the 800-meter run. The Hornets track team also had two participants at the state meet, and Friday, Albert Serrano was fourth in the 3,200-meter run. Saturday, he finished fifth in the 1,600-meter run and sixth in the 800-meter run. On Friday, Kobe Robertson was fifth in the 3,200-meter run, and Saturday, Robertson finished sixth in the 1,600-meter run.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.